Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today I'm going to be talking about the Overwatch League Kickoff Clash Tournament. This was just finished and it did just finish, but it finished today. And first we'll talk about the teams, a reminder of all the teams from the West and East region respectively. Then when the results are done, so when I finish talking about the results, we'll have a look at my predictions. Let's just say it didn't really go too well. We'll just say that. So, the 8 teams from the West region is the San Francisco Shock, the Dallas Fuel, the Los Angeles Gladiators, the Florida Mayhem, the Houston Outlaws, Toronto Defiant, Atlanta Reign, and the Washington Justice. Move on to the show players. Oh, okay, well, that's been ruined. Whatever. Here are the players from each team. Just a little teaser there. And for the other one, I'll just show the players right here. It is the Hangzhou Spark, the Shanghai Dragons, the Seoul Dynasty, and the Philadelphia Fusion in the East region. So let's now move on to the tournament. So first off with the West, because obviously the West is right here. So West comes up first. So the upper bracket quarterfinals was pretty interesting, mainly for one reason, which was the San Francisco Shock versus the Washington Justice. And that was surprisingly a really close game. I mean, I think I did say that the Justice will put up a good fight, but it would not be enough, and I was right on saying that. It was a reverse sweep, actually, from the Shock. I don't know who got MVP. I don't know why this like updated UI version of Wikipedia is not showing me who the MVP was. Sorry, I can't tell you who the MVP is for each of these matches, but it was a reverse sweep for the Shanghai Dragons, for the San Francisco Shock against the Washington Justice. They did and they had to go down to low round 1, and the Shock had to verse the Atlanta Reign in the upper bracket semifinals because the Reign won in their match against the Florida Mayhem. I really wasn't expecting the Reign to be this good. And also the Gladiators as well. I wasn't expecting them to be this good as well. They were popping the hell off, both of these teams. But I mean, they did come out swinging. I mean, I guess like that loss against the London Spitfire definitely caused something in them, and they came out swinging. They came out swinging all over the place. So they won against the Florida Mayhem in that one. And then and then the third match, the Dallas Fuel versus the Toronto Defiant. I mean, I'm not even surprised that the Fuel won against the Defiant. I thought the Defiant was gonna put up a bigger fight compared to this one, but they didn't really. It was kind of a bloodbath, I'll be honest. But yeah, so the Fuel winning against the Toronto Defiant 3-0 fashion. And the LA Gladiators, this one surprised me. I mean, I think I predicted the Did I predict the Outlaws to win? I can't remember, but the Outlaws, I don't know what happened to them. I mean, they looked really. I just like they are incredibly inconsistent. I'll be honest. They are maybe the most inconsistent team in the Overwatch League as of right now in the West region. They're so inconsistent. Half the time I'm really impressed of how they play, and then a couple weeks later they're just midfield. They're just like okay. I mean, nothing much, but okay. Well, that's good to know. Good to know that they still exist. But Lee Chung Tower and Circle Royale, that was just a bloodbath. That was quick. That was really quick. From the Gladiators. We move on to low round 1, and it was the Florida Mayhem eliminating the Washington Justice in a 3-1 fashion. I mean, what can you say about the Justice now? I mean, they have great players. Let me show you. They have actual good players in this run. Oh, that's new. They have actually good players. I mean, Decay, Mag, that's already a great set of players. Assassin's a bit iffy. Happy is cracked. Krillin opener, I can probably see why. I mean, the supports are definitely questionable. I think Kalios, he's a really good tank player. I think he's mainly the backup for Mag. Vigilant, I don't know how well he's gonna go. I think he might be a flex support if I remember correctly. So maybe Krillin is just there just so Vigilant can just become of age. But it surprises. Like, I mean, this roster on paper looks decent. That's why I put them in midfield. I mean, like a mid-tier team, because I thought they would go decently, or like pretty good. But I guess like they're not gelling well, or like the comps that they're using aren't really right, or they're also basically just playing against better teams. I mean, the coaches have also looked pretty good. I mean, even though I've always said that Supreme is not really the best option still, I still think he needs to go. Well, look at that, actually. Speaking of that, the Vancouver Titans, I just realized the Titans got rid of both head coaches, Flubby and Pew, and they also got a Seiko. So Seiko, Flubby, and Pew, they've all gone. I think Flubby retired. I mean, it was long overdue, I'll be honest. Thank goodness that they finally did it. Not to say bad things about Flubby or Pew, but it was long overdue. But the Mayhem winning against the Justice, not that surprising there. And then the Toronto Fire would losing to the Houston Outlaws. I don't know what else to say. I mean, the Defiance, just like the Justice, they look really good on paper. It's just that they're a bit inconsistent as well. I mean, these two teams are pretty inconsistent though. Now I think about it, the Toronto on paper looks really good, but Outlaws look better. So I'm not that surprised that the Outlaws won against the Defiant. Move on to the upper bracket semifinals, and this one shocked me. The Atlanta Reign winning against the San Francisco Shock. This is indeed the first ever loss for the Shock. I mean, I don't know what the hell they did. I generally don't know what the hell the Atlanta Reign did. But they made some freaking potion or something, like some like mix of metas that they just crumbled the Shock against. I think it might be because of Kai. I've been seeing like some tweets about Kai was just popping off on like the first map or something on this game, so that might be the reason. But it's crazy to me that the Shock, out of all teams who will lose to the who won against the Shock, is the team that lost to the London Spitfire. But I mean, they came out bigger and better, came out a lot better actually. So yeah, that's great to know. I mean, I'm really happy. Obviously, as an Atlanta Reign fan, I'm happy that they went against the Shock, getting their first loss of the season. The LA Gladiators won against the Dallas Fuel in the second upper bracket semifinal match. Once again, the Gladiators, they have looked super strong throughout the season. They were obviously the king of chokers for being the West region, but they've screwed it up. They polished some stuff as well, and they're continuing. They're doing such a fantastic job. That's why I predicted them to be like in fourth place, I think, or like second place. Well, I predicted them. I think I predicted them to be like in second place at the end of this year in the West region. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised at the Gladiators. I mean, a bit surprised that they did this well against the Fuel, but I'm not surprised that they won this. Lower bracket quarterfinals, and it was the Dallas Fuel winning against the Florida Mayhem. No surprises there. The Fuel just looked better than the Mayhem. And then the Shock winning against the Outlaws. Again, not that surprising. The Shock looked better than the Outlaws. Lower bracket semifinals. I really thought this would be the grand final, but the Dallas Fuel beats out the SF Shock 3-0. This was another very quick game. 3-0. 2-0 in Oasis, 3-0 in Midtown, 2-1 Circuit Royale. A very quick game indeed in the lower bracket semifinals. Upper bracket final, the LA Gladiators versus the Atlanta Reign. This is another really quick game. The Reign looked a bit lost, in my opinion. I did watch like a bit of it in I think it was in Dorado. I watched a bit of it, and they looked pretty lost for some reason. I mean, is Winston really meta? Actually, Winston is meta. Yeah, I was trying to remember if Winston is meta or not, but he is. They just looked really lost though in this match. 2-0 in Oasis, 4-3 in Kings Row, and 3-0 in Dorado for the LA Gladiators. And the Atlanta Reign lost again against the Dallas Fuel. Is this Is this also is the Rain also the first team to not get a single meter in the push map? That's something. 2-1 Ilios for the Rain, and then the rest are just the Dallas Fuel 2-1 and Kings Row 3-2 in Second Royale, and 140 meters to 0 in Colosio. So the Fuel looked really good coming into grand final, and they butchered it. It was 4-0 for the LA Gladiators, crowning them champions. And guess what? Freaking Patty Fan is in the roster. Patty Fan has once again won a massive tournament. I mean, anything he touches, he's just an absolutely nutcase on it. So, congratulations to the LA Gladiators for becoming the West champions of the Kickoff Clash. So let's now move on to the East, and it's a bit of a different story. I really thought the Shanghai Dragons was going to win, but they didn't even make it to the grand finals. This is the bracket. So no surprises here. I mean, actually, a bit of a surprise to Philadelphia Fusion winning against the Hangzhou Spark. I really had my high hopes on the Hangzhou Spark as they continue their upward trajectory, but that's not happening. I'm sorry to say that. But it's a 3-1 victory for the Fusion. Really close on New Queen Street though, only separated by 1 meter, but still the Fusion came out as the winner. And this was once again a fantastic game. I went to map 5 for the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty, and it was the Shanghai Dragons winning it at the very end of Lijiang Tower, 2-1 being the map score at Lijiang Tower. The Dragons had advanced themselves into the upper bracket final, and then in low bracket semifinals, it was the Seoul Dynasty 3-0ing the Hangzhou Spark, ending their run in the kickoff clash. The upper bracket final, we got the Philadelphia Fusion versus the Shanghai Dragons. It was a 3-0 victory. Pretty surprised at how well the Fusion did in this tournament. Obviously, they lost in the grand final though, but either way, this is this is a good start for them. They were almost eliminated from the kickoff clash from the qualifiers because of how badly they were performing at the later half of the tournament, in the later half of the qualifiers. But at the very end, the tournament is all that matters, and they did make it to the grand final, getting two league points. And obviously, after this, I'll have a look at the league at the Overwatch League standings, so everyone can see it. And then the low bracket final, it was once again a fantastic map 5 for the Shanghai Dragons versus the Seoul Dynasty. But it was the Seoul Dynasty this time coming out on top. At Ilios 2-1, once again incredibly close. But it was not enough for Shanghai Dragons to stop the Seoul Dynasty, as they've advanced themselves to the grand finals, and they won in the grand final 4-0 the Philadelphia Fusion. Now that's a great low bracket run from the Dynasty. They are your East kickoff clash winners, or champions, I should probably say. So I guess we'll have a look at the league points. So as you can see, so this is the West. So 7 points is currently up. Is for tied actually for the San Francisco Shock, the Dallas U, and the LA Gladiators. 5 league points for the Florida Mayhem, Houston Outlaws, and the Toronto Defiant, and 4 league points for the Atlanta Reign and the Washington Justice. 3 league points for the London Spitfire, 2 league points for the Boston Uprising, only 1 league point for the NYXL, and 0 league points for the Paris Eternal and the Vancouver Titans. For the East, they got the Seoul Dynasty, who's now taken over the lead on the East region with 7 points. Hangzhou Spark with 6. Shanghai Dragons also with 6. The Philadelphia Fusion with 5. Chengdu Hunters with 2. LA Valiant with 1. And the Guangzhou Charge also with 1. So that is the league points all done and dusted. This is basically the standings as well for each region. Let's now move on to my pickems, and it wasn't that great, which I will say. I'm just gonna open the kickoff clash again and the tournament just so I can see where I got wrong. So first off with the West region, and actually it says that up here, so it's fine. So I'm trying to think of how this is supposed to be. So I think 1 point is for the winner maybe. I don't know actually how they point or how they do the points thing. I might need to I might do some research on that. But I got 2 points for the SF Shock and Washington Justice. I think if you get 1 point, I think 1 point for the winner, or 2 points maybe for the winner, and then 1 point for the exact score line, I think. So let's just say for this one, if I actually put the Justice as 3-2, so it was a Shock that I got 3 and the Justice got 2, then I think that would be 3 points. But I might be wrong with that. Someone may need to fact check me. Didn't get the Atlanta Reign Florida Mayhem right. I really thought it was gonna be a close game. I really thought the Mayhem was gonna win it, but that wasn't the case. The Shock winning against the Mayhem, that didn't come to fruition. They actually lost the Atlanta Reign. Actually, a little spoilers to go here as well. I got this one right. I thought it was gonna be closer, but it wasn't. For the Gladiators and the Outlaws, and then the Fuel versus Defiant. I just put 1 point for just a little petty 1 point, I guess, for the Defiant, because I knew it wasn't gonna be close at all. This is round 2. It was I got the matchup right, but it was the Gladiators winning and not the Dallas Fuel. I did say it was gonna be a close game though. I mean, 2-3. Well, 3-2 is pretty close. And then the winners round 3. I guess we'll just quickly go into this. None of these teams even made it. Both of them were eliminated. Speaking of elimination, I got the Justice right on getting 1 point, but apparently this was the Mayhem. Got Outlaws and Defiant right, but it was the Outlaws winning. It was 3-1 for the Outlaws. Elimination round 2, it was the Gladiators. I predicted the Gladiators to win against the Reign. It was actually the Fuel winning against the Florida Mayhem. And then the Outlaws versus the Mayhem. That was wrong. It was the Outlaws versus the Shocks. It's 3-1 victory for them. And then we keep going to elimination round 3. None of this was correct. It was the Dallas Fuel 3-0 in the Shock. It wasn't a 3-2 victory for the Gladiators. Oh wait, I think this was already talked about that. Didn't I already talk about that? Yeah, I did. Elimination round 4. It was, I don't know how I got 3. Oh, okay. So 2 points is also if the team that you predicted to win also won in this match, and it was. So I predicted the Fuel to win this match, and indeed they did, which is a good thing. Grand final, so that was a different story. It was the Fuel losing against the LA Gladiators. It was also double points as well. I'm sad. Let's now move on to the East region. This was wrong. If I flipped it, it would have been correct, but it was wrong. This would have been, I mean, I thought it was going to be a lot closer, I'll be honest, but it was the Dragons. It was the Dragons winning against the Dynasty, but 3-1. I predicted 3-1. It was actually 3-2. Elimination round 1. I thought the Seoul Dynasty was going to lose against the Fusion. It was actually the Dynasty winning against the Spark. And then the Spark versus the Dragons, I predicted, nope, it was Fusion versus the Dragons, and the Fusion won that. Elimination round 2, it was Fusion versus Spark for me. It was actually Dynasty and Dragons once again in a rematch. Dynasty won that. And for double points in the grand final, I did predict the Fusion to be in the grand final, but they lost against the Seoul Dynasty 4-0, and the Dragons were eliminated from round 2. So that is really about it for the Kickoff Clash. Let's now move on to the mid-season madness, and we'll just have a look at the week 1 matches. So all these is West region. So we got the Florida Mayhem versus the London Spitfire, the Dallas Fuel versus the SF Shock, and the NYXL versus the Washington Justice. Then Toronto versus Spitfire, Reign versus Uprising, Titans versus Gladiators, and then next Outlaws versus Justice, Eternal versus Gladiators, and the Fuel versus the Reign. Now I think the Paris Eternal might be changed to the Las Vegas Eternal. I might be wrong with that. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but there's been a rumor going around that the Paris Eternal may rebrand to the Las Vegas Eternal. We'd have to wait and see. And then finally, the Defiant versus Mayhem, Uprising versus the Shock, NYXL versus Eternal, and then Titans versus the Outlaws. Obviously, when these matches are done, I will reveal the next week's matches. So that's really about it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.